The secret meeting Tadej Pogačar had with UAE Team Emirates sports manager Matxín. Section 1. The meeting. A high-stakes, 2-minute exchange of destiny. There are meetings that define careers, shape legacies, and alter the course of history. Napoleon's war councils, Steve Jobs unveiling the iPhone, and of course, Tadej Pogačar's monumental 2-minute sit-down with UAE Team Emirates sporting mastermind, Matxín Matxín. Yes, just a casual laptop open moment at the UAE Tour. No darkened boardrooms or secret handshakes, just a quick breezy chat at the morning of the opening stage of UAE Tour in late February. Nothing like some pre-race negotiations over coffee and croissants, right? Matxín, a man presumably balancing a dozen race calendars, 1,000 logistics concerns, and at least a handful of existential crises, barely had time to breathe before Pogačar casually said, "I really want to race Roubaix." Of course, why wouldn't he? What's a little hell of a north to a man who scales mountains like they're gentle speed bumps? But let's be real, Roubaix isn't just another race, it's an entirely different beast, a grueling, cobbled war zone where delicate GC dreams go to die. And yet, in a mere 120 seconds, Matxín and Pogačar, without hesitation, agreed. A moment of pure, decisive, history-altering genius or absolute insanity, depending on how you look at it. Section 2. What Tadej asked and why he wanted to race Paris-Roubaix. Tadej Pogačar, the Tour de France champion, isn't exactly hurting for career-defining wins. So why, in all his wisdom, would he willingly throw himself into a race infamous for swallowing lightweight climbers whole? The man is basically made of helium and raw watts. What business does he have smashing over cobbles designed to make even the toughest classics riders cry? Well, according to Pogačar, he simply had to do it, and as Matxín recalled, they had already promised him the chance back in October, meaning that the decision was just a formality. But let's analyse the deeper motivations. Revenge Tour 2025. After the sting of losing Milan-San Remo, and perhaps even the Tour of Flanders, if history doesn't go his way, what better way to remind the world of his all-terrain dominance than attempting the hardest one-day race on the planet? Legacy building. Eddy Merckx won Roubaix, Bernard Hinault won Roubaix, and then called it Bulls because, well, Hinault. If Pogačar wants to be remembered as a true all-rounder, a monument like Roubaix needs to be on his list. Sheer madness. Pogačar does things because why not? He's already shown he's not just a Grand Tour specialist. He won Tour of Flanders on his second attempt. He obliterated Strade Bianche. Maybe he just wants to collect trophies like they're Pokemon. So, in exchange for skipping Ghent-Wevelgem and the E3 Saxo Classic, Pogačar got his Roubaix debut. Sounds like a fair trade, except for his bones, which may violently disagree when he's bouncing off the cobbles at 50 km an hour. Section 3. Quotes, opinions and theories on Pogačar's Roubaix madness. Of course, it wouldn't be a Pogačar decision without some wild speculation from cycling fans, analysts, and presumably nervous UAE Team Emirates mechanics already planning how many spare bikes they'll need for his inevitable punches. Matxín's full quote on the matter is almost shockingly casual. Quote, "The meeting about that took place during the UAE Tour at the end of February, and it didn't last long. On the morning of the opening day of the race, we sat down, I opened my laptop and looked at Tadej's planned program. He said he really wanted to start Roubaix, and we said okay, since we promised in October that we could try it in 2025. He indicated that he was willing to give up Ghent-Wevelgem and the E3 Saxo Classic in exchange, so the decision was made in 2 minutes. That's the story. That's the story. No long debates, no last-minute second-guessing, just an open laptop and a dream. It's almost laughable, or laughably simple, for a race that destroys careers. Meanwhile, cycling pundits are having a field day trying to make sense of this. Some argue UAE Team Emirates is making a bold strategic move to elevate Pogačar's versatility, while others suggest they might be throwing him into the fire just to see if he survives for fun. And then there are the cynics who wonder, did Pogačar just want to do this to prove he could? Wouldn't be the first time. One unnamed DS from a rival team apparently scoffed, quote, "It's a nice idea until he hits the Arenberg. Ah yes, the Trench of Doom, where Pogačar's Roubaix aspirations might turn into an episode of Survivor, Cobbled Edition." Section 4. Who is Matxín, and what's his history at UAE Team Emirates? For a man who just made one of the best and biggest racing decisions of 2025 in 2 minutes, Joaquim Fernandez Matxín is an interesting figure. He's been a key architect of UAE Team Emirates' dominance, but his rise in the sport goes way back. Matxín, originally a director of Sonia Duval, gained a reputation for scouting talent and taking risks. He helped bring riders like Juan Ayuso into the spotlight and was instrumental in Pogačar's rapid ascent. He's a kind of manager who isn't afraid to think outside the box, so it's no surprise that he was open to Pogačar's potential crazy mission into Roubaix. His track record speaks for itself. Part of the leadership that masterminded UAE Team's Tour de France victories, he helped shape a team that, within a few years, became one of the strongest squads in the peloton, consistently backs young talent and isn't afraid to experiment, evidently. The man is either a genius or an evil mastermind who just wants to see what happens when you throw a pure climber into a war zone made of stone. Either way, we're all here for it. Final thoughts. The Pogačar-Roubaix madness is officially happening. So to summarise, Tadej Pogačar sat down for a casual 2-minute chat, asked for permission to throw himself into one of the hardest races in cycling, and Matxín simply shrugged and said, sure, why not? That's it. That's how history is made and how the secret meeting went. The implications? If Pogačar actually wins Paris-Roubaix, it'll be one of the most legendary performances in cycling history. If he gets destroyed by the cobbles, well, we'll all be here to watch the chaos unfold. Either way, April 2025 just got a whole lot more interesting. Now, someone get a camera crew following UAE Team Emirates for a documentary. This saga deserves to be immortalized. What do you guys think? Is Tadej Pogačar actually going to win Paris-Roubaix? I've asked this a few times in my previous videos, and nearly everyone comments that he has a chance, but they don't actually think he's going to win because of, obviously, Mathieu van der Poel. He is the reigning cobblestone champion. That guy's basically the king of the hell of the north, as most people say. I personally don't think Tadej's going to win, but I reckon he'll get top 4, or maybe top 5. Like this video, subscribe to stay up to date with all of the latest cycling news, cycling drama, and cycling race results, and as always, I'll catch you guys in the next video.